Everyone, how's it going? I figured since I play so much in the ELC Even 90 and there's probably a dozen replays on my channel about it, I figured I would kind of talk about my setup in the Even 90 and how I play it. Now, I wouldn't say I'm the perfect ELC Even 90 player. I have managed to get a 57% win rate, so I have some semblance of what I'm doing in this vehicle, unlike most vehicles that I play. So, the way I play the ELC Even 90, and I'll follow this up with some gameplay, is I try and get the most aggressive position I can possibly take, even if that means risking it a little bit. Now, my priority setup here is this one right here. I'm running CVS in the first slot, I'm running Turbo, and I'm running Binox. Now, the CVS, obviously, to penetrate bushes and decrease enemy camo, as you can see there. And that's my first slot rather than the Binox. And that's because I feel that it's more important to be able to spot vehicles through those bushes. A lot of maps like Prokhorovka, Malinovka, maps like that where there's a lot of concealment, this is going to do a better job than just maxing out my view range. Now, this would also decrease enemy camo. Of course, for every meter over 445 meters max view range you go over, the enemy's camo decreases a little bit. However, this gets the added benefit of also decreasing enemy concealment through bushes. So this is why I have it in the first slot. Now, the Turbo is there just to make sure that I can get into that position as quick as possible. I used to run Camo Net on here, which does work. However, it's not as good as this. I found that the ELC kind of feels a little bit sluggish. I'm not sure if it's ground resistances or it's mobility here, because it has a 24.5 power to weight ratio, but somehow it still feels a little slow. And also, the camo is good enough that you really don't need a Camo Net on top of this setup already. The Binox just to max out that view range so that there's some benefit to me staying stationary other than sitting in a bush. So this is what I use on my big maps. However, on my small maps, I go to this setup, where I'm using optics to make sure my view range is maxed out. Now, I would love to use CVS. However, that doesn't max my view range, and then I have to sacrifice something else. I use Turbo in the second slot because I just believe in speed when I'm taking those aggressive positions, and low noise exhaust so that I can further ensure that I'm going to make it to that position without getting killed. Let's take Paris, for example. When I'm going out into the field, there's a great bush in the middle, and I need to just get to that bush. If I can get to that bush, I'm good. Nobody ever expects me to be there. And I normally, once I make it, I get a great result, spotting everything on all those ridge lines, across on the corners. However, sometimes I struggle to get there, and if you get spotted and tanks are coming around that corner, you are going to be in some deep trouble. So this is my other setup. I'm not a huge fan. I don't really like low noise exhaust that much. However, it works in this scenario, but that's also why this is my priority setup here. Now, in terms of consumables, this is my standard. This is what I run most of the time. This is a Tier 8 premium light tank, so I don't like running food and all that. However, I do have one setup where I'm running large consumables. This is if I feel that this is a great map. Maybe I'm in a bit of a difficult, lineup. Maybe my team doesn't look that good in terms of the tank loadout. Again, I don't run whatever those mods are where you can see, your team's PR or win rate or anything like that. So I don't know the skill of any of my teammates or the enemy. The only identifiers are tier clans, but I kind of base it off the tank lineup. So maybe it's mostly tier 10s, or there's a lot of tier 10s in there. Maybe there's a tier 10 light tank. I'll load up this setup here just so I can boost it a little bit, and maybe I can spot that tier 10 light tank before heat spots me. In terms of... Alright, so time to show you what I'm talking about with some gameplay. So here I'm going to take that first loadout with the Binox. I'm going to try and take a position that's forward but not right against the wall here. I'm up against some tier 10s, nothing too bad. The only light tank on the enemy team is a WZ-132, which doesn't have nearly as good camo as me, nor does he have the spotting potential that I have. I mean, I could be wrong there. I'm going to initially try and take this forward push, and let's see if we can't catch him coming down early. This is a great spot. I love this bush. There we go. Back away from it so they don't even see that I was ever here. Some nice little spotting damage. Now, can I get out of this? Nope, unfortunately I'm going to get lit, but I should be able to get out of here. A nice 1,000 spotting damage. That's quite a few tanks, way more than I thought. And now we're going to have to escape this 121B. This is not really a situation I want to be in. Luckily, we have 2 tier 10 mediums and a tier 9. I'm still taking shots from the 121B. Luckily, my very small size is able to avoid them nicely. Now I'm going to move to a different bush and try and continue to spot them. CS63 is going to eventually have to make a run for it. Looks like he got a little bit of a hold down spot there, but these enemy vehicles are going to be lit. There's the WZ-132. Did I get lit? I did. It's a little unfortunate. Looks like he may have had binocs up. I'm going to try and get unlit here. Break turn, make it look like I'm going back, and then I'm going to shoot for these bushes. The WZ is unlit, so I should also be unlit. I'm going to try and use the low slope here and get into this bush. Let's see if I'm able to pull this off. I prefer to take bushes on either end of a little bush cluster, because it's less likely, I feel, that the enemies will actually try and shoot through it. Unfortunately, no arty here to harass them. But I'm just going to sit in this spot here, and let's see if the enemies decide to poke over. We got a WC just crossing the field. I'm going to tee him up, trying to draw some extra attention to him. Not sure how many tanks are able to actually hit that light tank, but it would be very nice to get him out. Unfortunately, doesn't look like our team is able to... There we go. One connected. Unfortunately, he got into some cover. I get a little bit of spotting there on the AMX-30B as the Char Future 4 finishes that. Tier 10 tank off. And our team is still taking shots here at this WZ. I believe I'm the one lighting them. I'm really still looking. This tree is quite annoying here, as it's actually blocking the building behind it. Maybe I can use and back up through these bushes, maybe get around the tree? Sort of. It's actually not bad. Now, I'm just debating, do I try and push up further? I don't think I do, because I'm concerned that that WZ may be set up somewhere, even if he's out in the open, and he'll see me coming. I also don't really want to run the one line, obviously. I don't really have a lot of support. It looks like the K91 bailed out of there, and he's now going into the city on the 6 line. So I'm just going to slow play it here. I'm up to about 2,000 spotting. The game has just started. Our team has progressed quite far into the city, which is nice, but we're only up 2 vehicles. There's the CS again. I must be the one spotting that tank, though it's not giving me any sort of indication that I am. I'm really curious as to where that vehicle might be. Given that everything is lit, I may shoot for that gap right there and try and proxy spot the 121P. Let's see. Again, I'm not making any Smurf plays here, if you are familiar with the term, you know. But I'm just trying to identify how can I keep these tanks lit while also not getting myself killed. And I feel that maybe they'll come around on me and that Type 61 and CS, and maybe the Sturb will be able to help. So I'm going to swing out wide, trying to avoid anything that might be sitting there. And now we're going to proxy this 121B. And we get a nice hit off on him. Well, our team does. I'm going to take a shot there at the 121. Really trying to bait around this corner as he fires. He misses again. I put 2 shots into him there. Quite happy with that result. And I'm hoping that this Type 61 just hangs on. Maybe I can bait him to trying to shoot me instead of the Type 61. Because my Type 61 here is my lifeline. CS53 isn't going to be able to help me as much as I want. Really hoping he would miss his shot there. And also, that tank hits for 440, I believe, or maybe it's 390. Either way, I really don't want to be hit by him. And now, unfortunately, the risk I took with this spot is now I can't get out of here until this 1-2-1B dies. So either somebody kills him, or he comes around, or I go and kill him. I'm really trying to bait him into shooting this. He missed me earlier, so I'm thinking maybe I can trick him. I'm also thinking maybe I can break contact here. Let's see, I don't really want to do it. Maybe if I just make a run for it and go into the dip. There we go. And he came around the corner and the Type 61 finished him off. Now I'm going to make a really aggressive play. I was going to kill the Char, but the Char is now dead. So I'm going to dump into this dip and really try and push this battle here. And I'm really small, so I want to get that CS52 to poke out on me. Unfortunately, it didn't go as well as I was planning. It looks like my team is now taking shots at him. Really trying to get him to poke out on Type 61. Taking some shots at him. And again, I can use my very small size here to sort of duck in and out of these very small hills. Spotted again. Now that CS is going to have to really poke out to be able to get me. My team's up 8-3. Now I'm just going to work around the backside now that I've evaded that CS. Fortunately, that Scorpion narrowly misses me. And I'm going to really try and push the engagement against this vehicle. CS fires. I'm going to see if I can't maybe poke up here. Unfortunately, that one bounces. Let's see if I can't get one more shot into him. There we go. We finish off that Tier 8 Polish medium tank. And our team is up 14-3. So, 15-3 now. So, we managed to keep spots on that 2 line. Help our team out despite having limited support back there. A CS and a Type 61. Both of them who were low health. We did have initial support of a K91, but he ended up leaving. So, between the 3 of us, and some of the support from the city, we took down a Char, a 1-2-1B, the WZ-132, and a CS-53 lease. There may or may not have been another tank there, and I believe the 30B was over there as well. So while it wasn't an amazing performance, I was in the top 5 there, just under 1,000 experience. I got 3,200 assist. You can see I took the ELC even 90 to an aggressive early position, got some spotting damage off early and helped my team build a little bit of an advantage. And then from there, since I was able to retain all of my hit points, that's super important in this vehicle, I was able to sacrifice some of them at the end, trying to bait the 1-2-1B into hitting me. I could have taken a hit from there, and also being able to take a hit from that CS-53 lease to both draw him out, as well as being able to kill him in the end by working those very low hills. So, again, this replay is coming from somebody who is not a spectacular player. I'm 5,200 PR and maybe 1,600 recent win rate, very average. And I'm just showing you what I am able to do at my skill level. So I hope you learned something from this, and maybe you can use some of the tips that I spoke about to better play tanks like the ELC even 90. This could apply to any light tank. You just have to take into account, camo and all of that, and your view range and your spotting. But other than that, again, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.